Yo guys, welcome back to another video. And if you guys have not seen the recent update log announcement, what they have done is they have added the Vanguard familiar for Yamamoto, and as you can see, it is now placed within Odyssey Adventure. So if you get to proficiency 5 or proficiency 10, you pretty much get both of them. Well, not all, but both of them. So pretty much get to rank 10 and you can get both of these two. One gets given to you at rank 5, one gets given to you at rank 10. And pretty much in Sandbox, they did add it in, so I put the stats in. 23, 11, 11, 60 level Monarch trait with the two things. As you can see, this is the art for the Vanguard family, it's pretty nice. And yeah, this is the art for the Memoria, it's kind of nuts, you know, it's pretty nice as well. And I put Contagious on the Memoria because he is a burn unit, so I want to see what he can do. And these are his stats. He costs about 88.4k yen, so yeah, these are his stats, look at them. I know it looks quite bad right now, but I'll showcase you his passives. So passive wise, he's getting 700% damage, so that's onto that already. And for every other skeleton from south now spawns from the edge of the map, walking towards the enemy that is in first. So while he spawns a summon at the back, he's going to be spawning a summon that is like from the left or the right, and they come onto the map following the first enemy in range. If the enemy, as long as an enemy is alive, they will be following that enemy. And then pretty much what else you have is you get this ability on placement as well. And for every summon, these summons that are spawning from the side, they don't get stopped by North ability. And while North is on cooldown, you can detonate all stopped skeletons for 100% of the unit's damage in a 20 starred range around the skeleton. So which is a lot of damage because they have a high damage stat. And yeah, it's just... And since the enemy summons can do burn, yeah, it's just even crazy. I'm pretty sure the summons can burn, so the damage that you can pair up with the DOT team is kind of crazy. And as you saw, you get that placement. South now spawns skeletons on takedowns, which is a big change instead of kills. It makes stages where like, high HP enemies just a lot more easier because you're just constantly having summons rolling around. Intimates unit applies burn to an enemy. Apply an additional instance of burn for 100% instant damage is kind of crazy as well. For 8 seconds. For every stack of burn on an enemy, deal 2% more damage from a basic attack, which is kind of crazy. And if you pair him up with Zoro, who can apply 4 more stacks of burn, which is kind of crazy, you can get a lot more extra damage. And his Memoria wise, his base passive is doing 30% more damage to burning enemies. And then when doing a base attack on an enemy with 10 stacks of burn or more, inflict intense burn for 100% of its unit's damage. That's pretty nice as well. You can pair that up with Choi, and because his base damage gets very high, the intense burn nuke you can do is kind of crazy. And the Intimidation of Long Life. For every skeleton alive from south, increases damage by 1%. So pretty much, you can get up to 400 summons on the map, which allows them to get 400% more damage, which is very crazy. Okay, so pretty much, yeah, with maximum skeletons on the map, he is at 5.67 million damage stat, which is kind of crazy. So his burn ticks at this stage will be a lot of damage, and it's kind of nuts. But yeah, pretty much if you factor in this, yeah, and place him with the other units, you got the 30% DOT amp from Godzilla, the extra bit of amp from Alucard, which is the extra 35% because of the Vanguard familiar. Then you have Hibana reapplying the burn he is doing, which is crazy. And then you got Zoro adding more stacks of burn, which will allow him to, of course, do intense burn. But pretty much the passive here, that he can stop enemies and then detonate them, you can only do it on the ones that are stopped. So you see these guys, if I let them get close up to the boss, well, not really to the boss, but if I let them get close up and stop them over here in a 20 range, let's say 20 range, what's 20 range? That's 25, or 20 range will be less than this, imagine that. So let's say this type of circle, that's 20 range. So you can detonate those summons in a 20 range, doing 100% more damage, which is kind of crazy. So yeah, let me just get all my units placed down and I'll see what he can do. So let's first off, yeah, let's just go against him with just wounded support against a boss. So let's spawn in a boss and see how much DPS he can do. With the summons on the map, of course. Those summons are, of course, going to add extra damage, but we'll see how it goes. I forgot, why did I put it to 1 amount? There we go. So let's spawn a Vegeta in, and from now, so let's go from 330. We'll see his DPS against that boss. So 330 now. I won't do anything. I won't touch any of the abilities. I'll just let him do his shit with his summons. His damage stats will be keep on fluctuating because there's no enemies pouring in. So I guess I'll keep the waves enabled just so he can have a skeleton keep spawning, so he can still build his damage stat up by having constant amount of summons. So from 330, by the way, so we'll see at 430 how much damage he did to the boss, and we'll of course divide that by 60 to see his DPS on the boss. So he's having summons, of course, from here, and then summons from the back that are regularly on the path. And let's say I stop these summons. You see these guys, they should stop, and then I can detonate them by clicking that. You see how much damage they did? They did a lot of damage. So we'll factor that into the actual DPS test, just to showcase to you guys what you can do. So I'll stop it now. So roughly in like a minute. Give me a second. Okay, so in those 60 seconds, we did about like 2.6 billion damage, and I'll say that's a roughly like 34 million DPS, but of course it's not really accurate because as you guys can see, you have to have the enemy stopped, so, and you need constant amount of enemies spawning in just to showcase his ability. So the nuke here, it's not really like as good because as you can see, you need these guys to build up a lot. So you need them to surround the boss and then nuke them. And these guys are just going to be constantly doing damage. It's not much DPS, but it's not too bad. That's just with the Alicod, so let's just bring in the other units and see how much more damage you can do. Okay, so I'll place in I'll wait for the next boss to spawn in, so I'll put strong on him, and then I'll spawn in... I don't have to put strong on him. I'll spawn on the next boss, so let me disable waves. And yeah, we'll see what he can do. And yeah, this is a true way of showcasing him because as you can see, this is how it's realistically gonna look when he's killing enemies non-stop. So I get to showcase to you how well to use his ability. So yeah, this guy should die off quick. Let me just kill him off. Who can support? Let me just put you. Let me add in, yeah. You should help that a lot. So let's just let this go on. Because the skeletons themselves are gonna be having a type of burn because each skeleton applies burn, which is kinda crazy. And it does help a lot. So yeah, this boss should be dead soon. We just have the skeletons non-stop pouring in, so it's pretty fine. And yeah, this boss is dead now. So I'm gonna let these summons build up and let them surround the boss. So I guess I'll put the boss like roughly here, I guess. 20 range is like how much? Yeah, it's a good amount. So I'll put the boss here and even the enemies here will detonate as well. So let's set the boss over there. And let's get our Alucard on him. Let's get our extra DOT from you, extra DOT from you. Fire on you. Oh my days. Let's get more yen. Let's get Hibana's. Not yet because they are gonna apply their own debuff. Let's get Kafka going. So let's get Kafka in. Kafka right here. And then I'll get the other ones in afterwards. So let's just spawn the boss in. And we'll see how well he does. So spawn the boss in. I'll stop with Yama. I'll turn on the waves. And then let's get our Zoro in as well. Let's get Hibana's. And I guess I max you as well because you have some type of burn damage as well. So let's see how well this goes. So DPS wise, of course, I can't really check his DPS, but team DPS will check it. That's what I'll check. So I'll calculate it from like 6 billion, from the 6 billion point. So 908. I'll check over when it hits 1008. So let's see how much damage we can do. So Zoro's EDPS is roughly like... Yeah, Zoro's EDPS is roughly like 1.5, but his damage is still going up because over time it does go up. And yeah, you can see the damage we're doing onto this boss. And yeah, towards the end of the timer, I will pop this nuke. But you'll see all of these guys will die as well, which kind of sad. So they're not really like helping as much, but they just die off. How much is Hibana's EDPS? 11 million, that's pretty nice. You're not doing much, so I'll pop the nuke like roughly soon. So let's go right now. And yeah, that's the damage we did. So you can see all those guys died, all the ones that were stopped. And yeah, these guys are still pouring in, of course. So I'll disable waves and I'll put on screen how much damage we did with this team over the 60 seconds. The initial one where I did the 34 million DPS was not accurate. I want to say that because as you saw, I had like a chunk of enemies because that's how it realistically looks. You have enemies pouring in. I had a chunk of enemies, so it wasn't really that good. Okay, so accurately doing the test, as you saw how I did now. Wait, I did the numbers wrong, my bad. Wait, give me a second. It's actually 227,000,000 divided by 60. Okay, so he roughly had like 37, or the team had 37.8 million DPS, which is kind of decent. And you have to consider that I did use a kind of a chop team. Ideally, who you would use is instead of these two, you would run Might to Guy and Pain. And yeah, I can't lie, setting things up do take a long time. So once I actually have the unit, I'll do proper tests and showcase a better team. Like the team wise, it's not really that crazy. I can improve it, of course, with a better team. I'll ring Might Guy and Pain. So for now, I guess you will have to do with that. So roughly, how much was it? I took it off my screen, but it was 37.8 million team DPS in this sense. So yeah, we'll see how well the team does when I actually have him because I can showcase it better. But yeah, for Yamamoto, that's pretty good. You know, the nuke is kind of nice, but there are times where it's kind of annoying because you see how they're not all together. You see how all the summons are not together at once. It's kind of annoying because when you detonate, you're basically wasting all those summons that are stopped. So yeah, you basically lose out on a lot of damage from those summons, but there's not much you can do about it. And then you also have constant pouring in summons, so I guess it's fine. 1 on 22nd corner, not too bad as well. And the fact that you can build up a lot of extra overhead damage from the last passive on the Memoria is very nice as well. So Yamamoto is, I'd say, like a very good unit. I don't know how far he falls on the tier list. Just leave that to Ansforia to decide. I won't really go about ranking him right now. But I'd say in terms of a tournament aspect, I'd say he could get a lot of usage in tournaments. He seems like he'll be very good because of the constant amount of summons that he is spawning in. And then the free detonate that he does have is pretty nice. It's not really crazy amounts of damage, but it is a nice amount. It's a nice nuke to have. But that's pretty much it for Yamamoto. I'll make a proper video on him once I fully have him because as you can see, there's not much I can do. So I'll work towards him very soon. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. And yeah, since it is well, I would say I'm rushing it kind of because as you do know, showcases people like to get them out very early and I have to compete against other content creators, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, forgive me if the showcase in terms of like showcase each mechanic was kind of chopped. I'll try and make sure I get another video out for him later on with a proper better team for him, which gets his best DPS out of him. So yeah, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.